Why, hello everybody. It is Robbie from Southern California, and today is the middle of September garden tour. And this is no joke. I'm literally gonna walk through and make this quick. So I made the other one too long, and the sky is so smoky and it's worse than it was yesterday, and I'm having a hard time talking. So we're gonna just do a walkthrough. Here I'm on the side where my driveway is. You all know where my driveway is. Well, I'm set up this table, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start seeds. And I've got some tulle laying over it so the birds won't get in here. And I see that I've got some cabbage just starting. I've got cabbage starting, cilantro, I've got some green beans from my own yard in here, and then some sprouting broccoli, which is the old seeds that I had, and we'll see if they come up. They're quite a bit old. They're like 5 years old. Lettuce, Malabar spinach. I didn't start those. I did, but I have no place to put them. That's why they're still there. But with this, I can put tulle over it so they can get a little bit of sunlight, and then if I wanted to, I could create like a greenhouse effect if I want to. Right now I'm gonna leave it, but yeah, I decided to set this table up because I think it'd be really nice for a seed starting outside, especially we're in fall. I've got a little bit going on there. We're in fall and we could still get things started and growing because we may not really get cold until December. This is all the squash that I started along the wall. Some of that is in the totes. This one is in the ground. This is unreal. It's a hybrid and it doesn't stop producing. I pick, and it grows. This one is not doing well. Remember, I've told you against the wall here, there's only about 6 inches, if that, of soil. But surprisingly enough, this one's been growing zucchini. Look at that. As bad as it looks, it's still growing, and that one looks good. That one looks like zucchini, and the other one is a hybrid. Same thing here. This has not stopped. I picked 2 massive ones. Oh, off. I guess I got another one just the other day, and boy, they literally seem to grow in about 3 days. They just take off. Haven't grown anything in here. There's my tiny little black cobra pepper that has suddenly taken off. It is loaded with peppers. So that's going to be fun. I don't know if Gary's taking it or if I'm going to keep it. So let's just walk through. We still have watermelon. Got 2 to pick there. The moringa. So I've actually got a place to plant one of them. Gary's going to take one. And then the Malabar spinach that's going up. And I've got a Korean melon. Oh, let me give you a little tip in case you don't get any tips on this one because I am just going to do a walkthrough. This is a Korean melon and it's very, very sweet. If the squirrels, rats, or anybody finds it, they're going to want it. So not only did I wrap it in tulle, and it's almost done. I looked at the tendril the other day. See, I think it's done now. It was not all brown, so I wanted to wait. So what I did in here is not only did I wrap it in tulle, but I put lemon verbena leaves in here, and you could use rosemary or whatever you want. Something to throw the critters off, so when they kind of go by and they smell it, it's like, oh, it's not what I thought it was, and they'll leave it. So if you have an issue, go ahead and try that. I'm going to do that a lot. There's a Goliath tomato, and then the squash. A lot of the squash is done. The peppers are making a comeback here. Look at that. So we're starting with the flowers again. So we're going to have peppers. That's an old cucumber plant that's trying to make a comeback. This zucchini made a comeback. Started trimming them back, and they're starting to make a comeback. So we'll see if we get some zucchini. I haven't pulled too much out yet, but I trim them back, and if they make a comeback, that's good. I've got a Brad's. This is an actual Brad's atomic tomato, and it's got flowers on it. So we'll see what happens. That is an actual seed. I purchased it, planted it, so I know that's not a hybrid, and more cucumbers in the back. So let's just keep walking. That's the moringa I think Gary's taking. More peppers, tomatoes. I moved some green sorrel over here. I had that in the front in the bricks. I didn't want the rabbits to be tempted. I changed the whole front. So I've got the green sorrel here now, and I haven't bothered it here. Let's keep walking. There's the purple tree collard. I mean, everything's doing good, and I'm trying to decide what will come out, what will be a winter garden or a fall garden, and what will just wait until spring. Everything here is still doing okay. Okay, my basil is turning a little yellow because I let it go to seed big time. But the bees love it, so I've left it for the bees. Celery. My tomatillo plant is pretty much done here. But let me tell you, these are beautiful. Look at that. See how purple they are? They are all ready to come off, and we have been using them so quickly. I've been making salsa now all the time, and it has been fantastic. So we have plenty of tomatillos growing everywhere, and I barely plant them. They come up everywhere. The eggplant that came up here is amazing. Look at that. Look how beautiful. It might be a hybrid because I grow the giant eggplant, the purple one, and this one is a little different because it's not the giant purple ones, the big ones, but you know, further down on the wall down there, I've got the little ones that grow that look like that. They're purple and white. Might have hybridized because these are so big compared to the plant in the ground. So it might have hybridized, sorry, with my other eggplant. So I don't know, but either way, it's fantastic. I've got carrots in there still growing. This is for the goldfinches. I leave this, sow thistle. So I got some carrots down there to pick. And then I've got the turmeric. That's fantastic. That wasn't even planned. It was the pieces I thought were no good. I put it in there and it's growing, and the tomatoes are growing. I've been picking and picking tomatoes and freezing them. If you don't know what to do with them, freeze them. Wash them, dry them, put them in a plastic bag and freeze them, and you'll have them all winter. Let's go walk to the front yard and see what's going on, even though I haven't done anything. Okay, we're in the front yard. I love the setup. Much easier than it was before. So easy to maintain, water, and take care of. My beets, I've got to get the last few beets out that I've got. The celery's going good. Some sort of squash I planted. It's already growing. And look how it's taking off. So it's some sort of runner squash. Maybe it's a spaghetti squash. I'm not sure. Or a hybrid. And then I've got the kale growing, some collard, tree collard. There's some other hybrid collard back there. Haven't really done anything. I'm starting to pull out what I don't need. And I've got rabbits living in the front yard now, and they've been eating the green sorrel. So I leave the green sorrel for them. The tree collard's doing fantastic, that one that the deer ate. I mean, the trunk is massive on it. It's just beautiful. There's still zucchini back there. That's that old tool from over a year ago, and it's not really doing anything. It's falling apart, but I just left it, and nothing's really bothered the squash. And then, of course, mint in all the containers. And then walking onion all over around the base here of this stump where this goes on in the afternoon, this water fountain for the birds. So all in all, everything's doing okay. There's some purslane coming up. This is edible, don't forget. Very good omegas in there. Walking onions. I do have to go through and collect all these because this year I am going to grow a lot of walking onions because that's going to be my main onion. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do it. Here is just my table of stuff. And I've got onions, and look at this. Oh my goodness. The little onions, the little sets that didn't grow are starting to grow. I actually may leave them. I left them all summer. I was picking as I need, and I'm almost out. Gary had a few in his garden, so I was having him bring it up. But now that they're starting to grow, I might leave them. And I just see now that I've got seeds. Seeds are important to me. I'm going to get that off today, at least the black seeds that are there, and start my own onions. I didn't do well with the sets last year. They kind of went to seed, and they didn't look good when we bought them. So we don't know if it was old stock or what. But I still had onions, so it didn't matter, because I've even been using walking onions. These are all walking onions, so that's what my goal is, to get a ton of walking onions growing. So easy. If you get walking onions, once you start them, you'll have them forever. You know, all you have to do is a little tiny care, which is water. And then, of course, you want to pick the babies and keep them going. But look at them. See this? Each one, these big ones, will have their own bulb. So I can use them as small onions. If you got hundreds of them, you won't have to worry about having to go buy big onions at the store. I haven't bought onions this year at all. Not since the lockdown started, pandemic started in March. I have bought no produce anyways. Maybe a couple canned goods they have on hand and some frozen stuff for the animals, but otherwise we have bought no produce for ourselves. Not produce. This is garlic chives and again celery. And this is just cuttings from different tree collards I've got. All right, let's go out of here because there's really nothing going on. Remember, this is soil. You never throw this away. For now, I'll just put it there. But don't clean it up and throw it in the garbage. Keep it, even if you want to just put it in a bucket and crush it. Whatever you want to do, but don't throw it away. I finally got to this. I sat down on a chair and I did the whole wall here. So now I've got containers. I've got square containers. I've got round containers. See, that's baby walking onions. See what's growing? And then I've got more square ones, and there is even like a milk carton in there, and there's a little walking onion in there. There's another one there. To grow in these cement blocks, and there's no fly ash in here. Somebody asked me, and no, these are not toxic. You can grow in them, but the point is they pull, kind of like some grow bags, they pull the water away, and we're in a very dry area. So the bricks act like a sponge, and they'll pull the water away from the plant, and they dry out quickly. But if you put containers in there, and it doesn't matter what the containers are, like I said, you can use milk cartons. Whatever it is, it will now hold it, because plastic, something solid, doesn't let the water absorb sideways. It can only go up. And if it can only go up, then you have more chance of the water staying in there and the plants growing better. Bricks dry out just too quick. You have to water them 2-3 times a day when it's warm. Otherwise, in the summer, once a day is good enough. And in the fall and winter, every couple days, and that's it. So I've got them all set up now with walking onions, a little bit of garlic chives down there, and that's it. No sorrel. I'm not putting any sorrel here. It's too tempting for the rabbit, and that's what he likes, that green sorrel there. So I leave that for him. There's 2 of them there, and he can nibble on that all he wants. And that's it. That's the back side of the table with the stuff growing here. So that's it. I use whatever I've got, especially these days. I use whatever I've got. Okay, so I've got some tomatoes growing here. And we have got tomatoes everywhere. I picked like a dozen more yesterday. And if I'm not using them, the cherry tomatoes, let me tell you something, they freeze beautiful. Wash, dry, freeze. There's my ginger. See these? These did not do as well. They were on the side by the driveway, and they were kind of spindly looking. Now, after all, it is ginger. So ginger does grow like that, where turmeric grows big and full. But I figured I'm going to bring it here because it likes morning sun, and that's what it's getting right now is morning sun. And if you've got extra tulle, instead of throwing it away, you can always put it on the bottom of your plants. It will act as a ground cover, and it will deter critters. So nothing's going to come chew that off because they don't like the tulle. So you can use the tulle. Look at this. Here's a new one coming through this tulle. Look at that. Because sometimes I've had them come along, critters, and snap them. But when the tulle's like that, just laying there, they don't bother it. So it works out perfect. Look at this. This is the black turmeric. You can see the stripe. And the rest is regular orange turmeric. I can't even get in here. And then I've got my stevia in the back. Oh my gosh, and it's gone to flower. So this has been amazing. Oh my gosh, it's taken off. I'm going to have more turmeric than ever, which is great because when I go to harvest it, I can harvest it at any time. I could do it right now. But when the plant dies back, I'm going to harvest it all. And the reason you harvest it is if it gets too wet, it could mold and then you could lose it. And I lost a little bit of ginger last year by leaving it. So when you harvest it in the dampness, you bring it in, you can put it in a drier place, or you can replant them and bring them in the house as a house plant. Just don't keep watering the plant and it will do good. Ginger and turmeric. This is ginger. See how they grow? They're gorgeous. But I'm going to freeze whatever we want to use for ourselves, and that keeps it absolutely fresh by freezing it like that. And then I'll plant what I'm going to plant. And you can leave it out and use the ones you're going to plant. You can still use it and eat it. I do have to make this quick. They're telling you not to go outside today, and boy, I can feel it in my throat. It's not my lungs for me. Gary feels the ash and the smoke in his lungs. I feel it in my throat. He feels like, well, sand. Anyways, so it's just, well, that's that. So you just harvest it when you want and keep it out, the ones you want to grow, and then you can start growing it anytime you want. But it's going to be a while. I don't think this will die back for a couple more months. But isn't that gorgeous? Okay, let's go through here. Look at this. Didn't get to that. Now hollowed out. Just a squash. All right, more sorrel in a pot. Probably needs to be repotted. Walking onions. And then this is the end of my spaghetti squash. Most of it went to my granddaughter, but there's still a little bit around. That's like a sweet dumpling. But I've got a big one in the house, and then there's more here, and there's another dumpling there. That's an avocado tree. I've got avocado trees coming up everywhere, and I don't. See, the thing is, somebody asked, why don't you just plant them? Because it takes 10 years, 7 to 10 years to grow avocados. You're better off to do it by grafting, and then you know what type you've got. And we have avocado trees, so we don't need to take up all that valuable space on avocado trees and waiting for something when yes, we can plant it theoretically and graft it ourselves. Haven't done that, yes, but we could. But it's the time that's going to go into it. I'd rather invest my time into other things and other vegetables. Isn't this beautiful? This is the one I bought online. Still has a little trunk. It's gotten a little bit bigger, but it will never support itself. Whoops, let's not play around with that. So I'm supporting it, and I'll do cuttings off of that. And then this is broccoli. It grows little broccoli heads. And then I've got oregano back there, more broccoli. This is Malabar spinach taking off. So you've seen all this. There really hasn't been a lot of change. We've been dealing with a lot of smoke for over a week now. And they really don't want you outside. So we get outside and we do our stuff. Look, we got a visitor again. Doves are so tame, I've walked through the yard here and almost stepped on him. Unbelievable. So we're trying to get things done that have to be done, maybe more things in the house, and not spend too much time outside until all the smoke clears. I know you can't tell because when I hold it up, the camera makes the sky look blue, but it's not blue. It is distinctly gray. Notice you cannot see down the canyon. Normally you see all the city and buildings. No, you can't. You can't see it at night. You can't see it at all. And it's just smoke. Over here, everything's doing good. These totes are 5 years old. I think I looked it up. And they are going strong. Remember, if you have totes and you're growing in totes or storage containers, as long as you have soil in it and you're watering it, it will stay flexible, and all in all, it can last for many, many years. How many years? I don't know, but I know a lot of mine are already 5 years old. Look at this. The bees are just going crazy with the garlic chives. They're doing their thing, and then I'll be able to collect more seeds and grow more garlic chives. All right, let's keep going down here. Oh, baby walking onion. See what I'm doing? I'm trying to get trays of them so I can transplant them later. And as I find them, I throw them in here, and then I figure out where I'm going to grow them. Those were really tiny, tiny ones. I wasn't even sure if they'd grow, and they're doing really, really well. All right, tomatoes growing everywhere. Purple sprouting broccoli, that's what this is. It won't sprout until later. It's not the right time. Like I said, I'm literally the Kitty's garden. Let's look at Kitty's garden. It's just a lot of cuttings are in there right now. That's dazzling blue kale, and that's really good because I can move it to bigger pots whenever I want. And then my solar fountains are going on. They've been struggling with this weather because the sun doesn't come, like see how they're running? Some of them are just kind of burping because they're not getting full sun. And it kind of goes and comes, so it depends on how the sun rays come through the smoke. But all in all, a lot of them are doing pretty good. That's that other one that the hummingbird loves taking a bath on. It's just so cute. Mint all through here that will have to be trimmed back. So I wouldn't want to hike back there right now because you never know, even though I have not seen any rattlesnakes, you never know if there's going to be any rattlesnakes. So I don't hike back there. But I will clear it out. That is spearmint all through here. Spearmint grows like wild mint. Chocolate mint does not. Peppermint's a little bit stronger than chocolate mint, but if I put chocolate mint on the ground, it won't take off like this. You wish it would. It doesn't. It's more dainty. Maybe that's the word, but spearmint will just take off. It's very, very close to wild mint. But it pulls up easy. I don't have a problem here. Maybe because our soil is so bad on the ground that it's just easier to rip out. Okay, what else is going through here? Never really got to that. I see a tomato peeking out, but I never really got to it. I left the collard that came up from seed there. And then celery went to seed. I'll probably transplant something else in there, freshen up that pot, and then put something else. I could cut it down and see if it makes it come back, but I have so much celery. I mean, look, this is all celery, and I don't even plant it. It just comes up. All that celery just comes up. It's walking onions is my big thing. I want to make sure these are all walking onions. Look how big this is. See how big that is? That will have a bulb on it that big. And so, yes, I may not, be able to just use one. I might have to use 3 or 4 for, let's say, a big dish. But still, all in all, they grow so good. That's why I want to concentrate on walking onions. Lemon balm. Let's keep walking. I don't want to get stuck out here too long because there hasn't been a lot of changes. I'm doing a lot of clearing. As you probably saw as we walked through, there's buckets of leaves everywhere. Because as I go through, if something needs to be yanked out or leaves need to be removed, leaves are my friend because they turn into soil. Look at that. They did finish that plant. By taking all the leaves off, they pretty much killed my beautiful, tall, dazzling blue kale. But this one's got tulle, and they can't get to this one. They can sit on top, but they can't get to it. So that worked out really, really well. Squash, more tree collard. Let's look over here real quick. This is sweet potato. I don't know what's in there. I'll probably check later. And then more walking onions, and this is all chocolate mint with this little cute one down here is strawberry mint. We do not make tea out of it. Smells good, tastes bad. Sage, garlic chives, and then again here, a lot of baby walking onions. See how they grow when they're super tiny? They don't look like much, but they will take off. So I just stuff them in here as I find them. I hear all the birds singing, it's so pretty. And then I've got celery here. Again, this is just seeds that fly in here and they just grow. And then you've probably seen it on all the other ones. This is all celery. This is growing in the ground. So there must have been a crack and it got wet and they just all filled in there, the seeds, and they grew. All right, so let's keep going. Lemon verbena back there. And I did put some purple tree collard here. And then I've got another one back here. So, oops, we don't want to upset the bees. And then another purple tree collard there. So we'll see how things go. But all in all, everything's doing good. There's eggplant. I don't know if there's any eggplant on it now. I have picked some. I'll have to look. I think I see flowers back there. So I'll have to see what's there. And then, let's see, another eggplant. Not doing that great. I should give it some compost tea. And that will take off. And then that is my original tree collard. It's so big. It's falling over, struggling. But look at all the cuttings I can do off of it. Remember with tree collard, you don't want seed. You want actual cuttings because look at this. It's gorgeous. I could cut it and just let it bush up. That's another option soon because I'm going to have to do something. It's going over. If you get seeds, it won't grow like a tree collard because it's created by cuttings right now. Somebody created it and that's the only way you can do it. Papaya. Look at that. And yes, we get lots and lots of papaya. This is unreal. Can you grow? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Can you grow 11 papaya plants in one tote? Sure. Okay. They've left. As you can see here, the roots have left. Look at the roots. They went through that tote. We actually cut the bottom right on the side there and we let them go through. So we're leaving it. Garlic chives, some Swiss chard. And then here I haven't done anything yet, but I can still keep putting the leaves in. Same thing here. There's nothing really in here. The mint is just trying to get over. The mint's going to take over on that. The tomato plant is sitting in a pot, and then it's taking off all over the place here. And then I've got more tomato plants there. This is a moringa, a small one. We'll see how it goes next year. And then, well, that's basically it. Another moringa there. And just some Malabar spinach and a tomato plant here. One is in a bucket and one is in a pot from the nursery. All right, and then some tomatillos back there. It looks like it needs a little water. I don't think I watered yesterday. So let's go through the gates. There is Rosemary. You know, I haven't made Gary a pizza in close to 6 months, so I better get a pizza made. We love our Rosemary because the pizza I make is so incredibly good. And yes, I will get that up one day. I'm trying to figure out how to do it because I don't do recipes. I just throw things in, and I guess I'm going to have to do it the way I do it and let you guys figure out how you want to make it. Look at that moringa with a tote. This is the potato mint. And by watering that, see that moringa was in a cottage cheese container, planted cottage cheese container and all, because a lot of moringas do not like to be moved. So I planted that a couple years ago there, or 2-3 years ago there, and now it has taken off. It didn't grow last year, it hasn't grown. But now that it's got its own tote, and see how the water comes out there when I water it? You know, I didn't water yesterday. I actually skipped yesterday. It waters that tree, and it's doing fantastic. Let's keep walking. All the papayas are doing really, really well. This is unreal. I know the papayas are unreal, and it sent an offshoot that is just loaded. That's one thing, we have no shortage of papayas, and each papaya has their own tote because the tote creates its own compost tea that feeds each and every papaya plant. We've got pomegranates on there. Eventually I'll be picking pomegranate soon. They're all through there. Look at this, isn't that cool? I planted it from seed. The easiest plant to grow from seed. Eat one, spit it out in some flower pot with soil, and watch it grow. That's all I did. So we've got that growing. Let's keep going this way. Let's go to the wall. Like I said, I do want to make this quick because I haven't done anything else. We'll be getting beans there. I just sat that pot there. There's a squash plant in it, and I think there's some little squash growing on it. But I just sat it there. Walking onions, garlic, chives. The moringa got a little yellow. I don't know if it's from the heat or all the smoke, but it's still doing okay. I'm not worried about it. There's that eggplant that grows the teeny ones. Again, this is something that came up in the yard a while back. See how small they are? And that's the way they are. If I leave them too long, they'll go bad. They'll turn yellow, and I got to get the yellow ones off. I'm still cleaning up the plant. I'm going to put more totes in here. Actually, I think I'm going to put one purple tree collard here, and I'm going to plant another moringa there, and I may plant another one further down. I think the moringa on the wall looks beautiful. Look how the lizards hide under it. And it's something I want to make sure I keep having is moringa leaves to add to green drinks because it's so nutritious. Most valuable plant in the world, they say. And it likes the heat, so the wall works perfect for it. Got a tote. I experimented with this last year and it did work. Stuck a tote here with some chocolate mint, and I did have mint all through the winter, no matter how cold it got. Because the wall creates its own microclimate, I did have mint. It didn't grow that vigorous, but it still continued to grow leaves, which was really, really nice. Like I said, I haven't done anything. I've just been picking squash on my old squash plants. That's the old one that has squash. And then some of these have died back, so I'm going to figure out what I want to plant in there. I might put tomato plants, or I might just continue to throw leaves in there, build it up, and then come the first of the year, start putting squash seeds in there and get zucchini growing again. Zucchini is my favorite squash. This is, I think, a hybrid of kabocha, because I believe I planted kabocha, and some of them were hybrids. Oh, there's more squash. I didn't even see it. More squash. Oh, there's more squash. So there's one there. I didn't even see this one. Okay, and then tomatoes. See, the tomatoes like the wall. So I want to get some more tomato plants here, even if they're just in pots, hugging the wall. Because if I can get tomato plants growing all winter, then I'll have tomatoes all winter. And that's what my plan is. And keep in mind, if you're going to try doing that in a microclimate, I would go with the small cherry type tomatoes because they grow so quick. If you try it with bigger tomatoes, it may not work because it takes longer, of course, to get a bigger tomato than it does a little one. And I personally like the little ones the best. He's still working on it, but he had to stop because of all the smoke. And like I said, I'm having trouble even talking right now. So once the smoke clears, he's going to go back and start working on his fountains. And then there's the truck bed. That's a pomegranate tree. It gets really neglected because I never water it. If I watered it, it would be as big as the others. It's the same age. The truck bed is loaded with squash. And this is the backside of my chair garden. Look at, I came out here and picked, I don't know, a couple dozen tomatoes. These are ripe. I've got to get these off. When they turn that color on the midnight snacks, they are ripe. See, they're still purple here. Not quite ripe. Green and black, not quite ripe. But as soon as they get that color, this is almost ripe. This is ripe. I've got a little eggplant. Hasn't really done much there. Probably because the tomato plant has overtaken it. And then I've got a squash plant there and some, oh, this is a whole cluster of tomatoes. I actually should leave a couple in there and see how there's too many in there. That hinders their growth. They'll just sit that size. Now this one may end up taking over because it's on its own. This is a pepper plant. But It might. So we'll see what happens with that. Oh, this is a cucumber. Look. Oh my gosh, a little cucumber. You got a little tiny cucumber there. But when you have them in a cluster like that, they don't grow. It kind of stuns their growth. So I might take some. I've got so many. That's the problem. I've got 100 sitting on my windowsill. I've got them everywhere. So I might take a few anyways and move them. I don't know what type they are. And these are the Brad's hybrids, which have been quite big. But they have been fantastic. They grow really, really good. And then this is a little pepper plant here. We picked the last of our watermelons. We had a watermelon there, and we had a watermelon here, and they were fantastic. Oh my gosh, I don't believe it's going to grow anymore. And as soon as I know 100%, I will compost that and turn that into soil. But that's it. All in all, everything is doing good. I did get a sun gold back here, and that's what I was hoping. I planted some that were supposed to be sun gold, so I want to get that going because I really like the sun gold tomatoes. I'm not sure if this is done yet, but see, it's got new growth coming in. So I'm not sure. And then the garlic chives have been just beautiful. Look, the bees, they love their garlic chives. Look at that. Is that Gary's bee? I don't know. And then the tomatoes are doing great. So I love this garden. Again, I could just walk in here, easily service this, start trimming leaves off like this. Just stand up, walk in there, clip, drop it in there, and create my own soil. I'm not sure if I'll tear it apart and change it this spring, or if I'll just freshen up the totes, just freshen them up, kind of move the soil around, get some more compost in there, some more kitchen scraps, and keep going. We'll see as time goes what way I want to do it. But right now, they're not completely done. I've got a lettuce here that went to seed. I'll be collecting that. And once the bees do their thing on the lettuce, I'm going to cover it and collect those seeds. I don't want the birds to eat it. So I have been so pleased with this garden. This has been my favorite. My absolute favorite garden. It is so easy to maintain and nothing bothers it. If ants get to it, you can put something around the legs to stop the ants from crawling up there. If you really wanted to, you can moat each leg. There's so many things you could do. I haven't had any, let's get to the point. I haven't had a single mouse or rat try to climb the chairs. The only thing that comes in here are birds, but they're actually, yes, they may pick at the tomatoes. Some birds like tomatoes, but I've got the orioles coming in, and they'll be leaving soon. But they were eating the hornworms off. I've had towies in here, other birds in here, goldfinches in here. I haven't had any problems at all. I don't have a single complaint on this setup. I love this setup, and the only thing I'm going to do different, well, you'll see and be surprised. I am going to do some stuff different because I want to make it more fun. But all in all, the style in which I set it up in this small little area has been absolutely perfect. So I thought about it and it worked great. And then the hummingbird, of course, she's got her feeder over there. He or she could be a male. He's been hanging around. There's one here. That one probably only has just a tiny bit on the bottom, so I'm going to have to take both of those in. I'll just scrub them up and put new in there. The males, they come in first when they're migrating, and then the females will follow, and then the younger ones usually come in after that. So they'll be living here all winter. That's what happens here. We end up with thousands upon thousands of hummingbirds. They migrate through, some leave, and then some stay. So I hope you enjoyed this garden tour. There's the truck bed. There's the cardboard box. Am I a fan of cardboard boxes? No, but I've got the tomatillos and a few things still growing in there and sage. So I will leave it right now until it totally falls apart. Being covered in plastic, it really did protect the cardboard. I must admit, I can use a little more soil. I see roots by the tomatillos. There's the sage. So it could use a little bit more soil, but all in all, it's done okay off the ground. Wrapped in plastic, there's a hole in the center, it goes down, but it's still going. So that's interesting, and you want to see the truck bed. Let's walk over real quick. Tomatillos everywhere. That's why I said they started coming up everywhere. Aren't they gorgeous? These are the purple ones. And then, of course, squash all through here. I pick it, and it just keeps growing and growing. A lot of these turn out to be hybrids, and that's fine. You can bake them. You can still use them like zucchini. Sometimes what I do is I cut them open when they're raw, and if they taste like zucchini, which is kind of a bland taste, then I can do anything I want with them. I can make cakes, I can make desserts, I can make whatever I want. And if they taste pumpkin-y, then I'll do more of a baking with butter and something like that. So I hope I've given you some tips. I'm going to go in. It is smoky, hard to talk. And like I said, it almost feels like sandpaper in my throat from the dust. And they said it's very small particles. They don't want people breathing it in. They're having an issue with that in the area. And we have even local fires now that it might be coming in from that, not just all the way down the West Coast, but the way the wind has been coming in. They said we're getting all kinds of smoke. So with that, have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I'm going to go get some indoor stuff done and get a mask back on. I don't have a mask. Isn't that gorgeous? See? That's right. See how easy it comes off? And that's how you know. And that will go in my pocket. And bring that in. I'll probably collect a whole bunch more. And real quick, since maybe I didn't give you that many tips, you can wash this, and just as it is, wash it, dry it, and put it in a plastic bag, and you will have tomatoes whenever you want in the winter to drop in soups, anything you want, salsa, and you'll already have tomatoes that were fresh from your garden, right out of your own freezer. With that, have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye, everybody.